Good evening, Jeopardy fans, and we are live here on hashtag Jeopardy live panel presented by thejeopardyfan.com. As always, I am Andy Saunders, and I am moderating tonight's discussion here on hashtag Jeopardy live panel. So let's get right into introducing tonight's panel. We've got a couple people joining me tonight. First up, returning to hashtag Jeopardy live panel, welcome back to Pat Kavanaugh. Thanks for coming on again.
Yay, Andy.
And our second panelist, certainly well known the past week on Jeopardy, winning 3 games. Congratulations on your victories, and thanks for joining us on hashtag Jeopardy live panel, Nan Bauer.
Oh, thank you. I curtsy, but I'm sitting.
So, as always, here on hashtag Jeopardy live panel, we have the YouTube chat, we have Twitter. If you've got a question for tonight's panel, for Nan, for Pat, for even myself, you can leave those on use hashtag Jeopardy live panel on Twitter, and just type them into the YouTube chat if you'd like to leave a question. There was a bit of a debate on my comment section as to which television market you kind of consider yourself a part of. So do you get Lansing stations or do you get Toledo stations? Because Matt Carberry, one of my gold level Patreon supporters, and he also keeps track of what TV market each of the contestants is from during each season. He was kind of curious as to whether you would be the Toledo market or the Lansing market for his stats.
I'm pretty sure we may be able to get them both, but I'm pretty sure we're Lansing only because of I think we're probably Lansing-ish, but this is not a thing I know about a lot. I think we get the PBS stations both from Lansing and Detroit.
Okay.
So one of those two.
Okay, yeah, there was an interesting debate where it's like, well, I put, Matt put it down as Toledo, and then Fred Vaughn chimed in, was like, are you sure that's not Lansing? And I'm like, I don't know. I
think it's probably Lansing. I'm kind of equidistant, but I think that the TV, possibly because I'm in Michigan, so I don't know if that has anything to do with it. It's so technical. I mean, it sounds technical to me. Maybe it isn't, but it sounds really technical.
It is a little technical, and it's a weird question to open with, and I do apologize for that. But it definitely came in it came in just before we went live, and I thought, you know what, let's ask. So, and yeah, Fred Vaughn's like, hey, all, I heard my name mentioned. So,
hi, Fred. Represent.
So, my next question, certainly the internet had certainly opinions about you and your run during the past week, Nan. How did you find the internet this past week?
I didn't go on very much. It was very weird. I got my favorite all-time friend request from Facebook. The line was, been in prison. It was done time in prison. It was really getting into a weird area. So that was surprising. Of course I had my picture with Alex, that was my profile picture. And then I changed it because the previous week, apropos of nothing, a friend of mine had gotten me re-obsessed with Luca Brasi. So I changed my profile picture to Luca Brasi. And fortunately, it's made it a little, oh, wow, gee whiz, I shouldn't have said that, right?
Well, yeah. All you have to do is just change. All you have to do is just change it again and don't tell us. So then we're good.
I'll tell you, but I get a huge kick out of Luca Brasi. I think he's kind of hilarious. So anyway, but I didn't, I didn't
if you changed it
to it because I don't, I mean, it's like whatever. I look for cute pictures of kittens like everybody else. No, I don't really, but I just didn't go on it that much.
No, yeah, because certainly the the internet was certainly a buzz with regards to your run for sure. How certainly, especially because a lot of people seem to think that Alex took quite a shining to you.
Oh, the Trebek. No, I think Alex responded to the fact that if you watch the show regularly, Alex has to do a lot of really crazy things. He does like accents, and there was this brilliant category. I really wish I'd gotten that was Tarzan Goes to the Movies, and he had to talk like Tarzan. And I think with the train spotting answer, I think that just delighted him that somebody was going to go out on a limb after he'd done his Scottish accent. I did mine. And that was actually a dare from the producer who Pat has met Maggie. She said, you know, guys, we had to talk like a pirate category and nobody would talk like a pirate. And I'm going, oh my gosh, that's so in my wheelhouse. So I think he liked the fact that I would go out on a limb. And also the last night, Erica and I, Erica who beat me, she was wonderful, and I was delighted that everybody I played was really great. I mean, that's the one thing about Jeopardy, which Pat probably can reassure you, is that you're in that room and people are just really, because you're in Nerd Olympics, you know, so you're with your tribe, and it was super cool. But Erica and I, we decided we're like the Williams sisters at Wimbledon because of Jeopardy, because we're like, you know, we were really getting into it. So I think Alex just responded to somebody who wasn't afraid to, you know, be silly. If you watch Morgan tonight, Morgan was really just delightful and funny and goofy, and you know, I think that that's what he was responding to. So yeah, I saw those things and it was just like, you know, whatever, you know, it's fine. It's like, he's just, I found Alex to be just like the quintessential professional. You know, well, you look up in the dictionary professional and there's a picture of Alex, and then you go to gentleman and there's another picture of Alex. So he was great and really nice, but I thought he was nice to everyone. So if you got a kick out of me, it was because of the train spotting thing or something. I don't know.
And then I think he also got a kick out of your last interview topic, as it were, with the
Dr. Daniels. Yeah. Yeah, I've dubbed that our As You Wish, but that's just kind of to feed the rumors, because there's absolutely, you know, nothing going on. We're both very happily married, so you know, and you don't have time. That's the other thing. I mean, Pat knows this. You see him for the first time when you're up on stage and you've already done your, hi, I've got a frozen smile on my face for however long. It feels like eternity. And that's the first time you see him. And then he talks to you at the end, and that's it. You know, so it's all just silly. But I mean, it's cute and it was flattering, but it was, you know, it was dumb. It wasn't dumb, but it was, you know, I was just like, okay, fine. I think he took just as big of a shine to Austin, actually, you know. I think, because it's just, if somebody gets up there and they're lively and they don't take it quite so seriously, I think that that's a really great thing. And I think that's a great tip for anybody who goes on the show. Just don't be scared, focus, and have fun, you know. And watch Morgan's performance tonight, because she was spectacular.
I did enjoy Morgan's performance for sure. Normally I don't talk about normally I don't talk about the current episode, the day's episode that's just aired. But you know what? There's no spoilers there. If you're on the West Coast,
yeah,
I will not be upset if we're still going at 10 o'clock and you duck out to watch the show live, because frankly, it's worth it. Morgan is worth the price of admission. So,
and Morgan really Morgan changed the whole thing for me, because we got there and I was so nervous. I felt like I was, because I shake. This is what's hilarious, is people go, she's so poised. And it's like, the reason you never saw my hands is because I had to anchor them, because my hands shake when I get mad. So it's like, I put all the tension in here. They're like this, you know. And I could barely write my name when I first got up there. But when I got there, I was really, really just freaking out almost. And I mean, you know, in a type B way. But and I said to Morgan, she just bounces off some question, and I said, "Oh my God, you young whippersnapper, you're going to smoke me on the pop culture categories." And she said, "I'm not here to smoke anybody. I'm here to have a great time." And I went, "Wow, thank you," because it was like it changed my day. It was like, okay, that's the attitude I have to have. So she's really great. She's really great. So.
It's good to know, though, that she was actually a carryover that didn't get to play last week, so got to play this week, because it gave her the opportunity to actually see 5 games taped before tonight's episode, which I always like to see. I always feel bad for people who get thrown right in. Now, my other question was, Charles. Was Charles part of your taping group, or did he just...
Charles was not part of my group. In fact, I was expecting to see someone else. And the disadvantage of going on first is, in some ways it's great because you don't have time to watch and be nervous. But I didn't know anyone's names except for first names. So Morgan was actually great because she reached out to me right away on Facebook. And then, but honestly, I couldn't find people because I didn't know last names. So, there's kind of not a way to find out because a lot of people don't stick around after their game. So, I did get to watch one show, which was the Friday show with Erica and Anand. And and Ashley. Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All of whom are, again, just wonderful people. And Anand is really great. So,
And certainly, I think, again, Pat can speak to how again, agree with how amazing your taping cohort is in general, because I'm pretty sure most of Pat's taping cohort still keeps in very close touch with each other. So,
yeah, absolutely. And in fact, Morgan told me today that I would have to finance the reunion next year. So I said, as long as people drive, I'll think about it. So she's great. She's just a hoot. She's really great.
So you brought up Austin earlier, and so obviously, how happy were you to avoid Austin? Now, did they talk about Austin's run in the green room at all, or?
They talked about there had been a giant killer, and I actually thought they meant Kathleen. So and Marcus, the other guy I played my first game with, I thought between the two of them I was toast. No, Kathleen wasn't there, but I think Kathleen must have been there at the same time. So I knew nothing about Austin until he came on, and I actually thought he was going to be on for a really long time. I thought he was going to be on right up till, my show. But no, they did not, only to say there had been a giant in the room. And watching him about the first week, I just was like, oh my God, thank the good Lord whoever took that guy down, because he is amazing. But there were, the funny thing is with Jeopardy, it is a great deal about luck. And there were a couple of times, where I got lucky was that I found in my practice sessions, I tended to know really obscure stuff that nobody knew. And there was one night, only one out of like the 53 games or whatever that he won, where there was actually, I thought I might have had a little bit of wiggle room to get into second place here. But he's pretty amazing. I'm really looking forward to the tournament, because I think, it'll be fun to see. There were a bunch of great people this year. There was that guy, who was he? Who was the guy, the teacher with the crazy colored shirts and the ties? Remember that guy? He was great. He was on forever. He had
Justin?
Was his name Justin? I remember Seth. Seth was on, I think Seth had a dozen games.
Right.
So I remember him. So I remember a bunch of people. So it's going to be a blast to watch it.
I feel as though it was Justin, probably right just a couple of weeks before you taped, when his games aired, who had the crazy colored shirts.
Possibly. I think our schedule was a little, See, you know, you really have no idea, and they're good at keeping it sort of tight-lipped, and I think that's a really good thing because I don't think it's consistent, the schedule. I think sometimes maybe they have 2 weeks off in between, or 1 week off, or 6 weeks off. I mean, I don't know, because there was when I was in LA taping, they were doing tournaments, you know,
right, the reruns.
Right. So, and so I have no idea, you know, I have no idea. And I don't know what the schedule was between Justin going out and tournament. So whatever, you know. But tournaments coming up, it'll be a gas. It'll be great.
So, how different is it watching Jeopardy now compared to before you taped?
How different is it? Pat, how did you find that?
It's better in a way because you sort of know how the sausage is made, you know? You're like, oh, well, yeah, sure, I recognize that. Sure, they're doing that. Yeah, okay. But on the other hand, it's disappointing to know that you cannot go back.
Yeah, that's the thing. And that's a, you know, a wonderful thing when you know, I mean, I'll always say there was a lot of luck that went into my win, but it's nice to get another shot, you know. And I was just thinking the other day, I thought, you know, it'd be really cool if every group of 3 people could do 2 rounds, you know, because it's kind of like, I mean, I just felt like everybody was so good, and it's like everybody should get a chance to play twice, you know, because it's really fun, and you're so hyped up, and you're so, oh my God, I don't know how to prepare to this, and then, you know, it would be cool if people could play more than once, you know.
That's an interesting point for sure. I'm going to bring something up. I don't know how much, if any of our listeners may be familiar with this, or if either of you are, but on the British game show Pointless,
what a great name.
So basically the point of Pointless is that you have a whole bunch, you know, they poll a whole bunch of people, like they poll 100 people to be like, name as many English members of Parliament as you can. And so they go ahead, and then on the actual show, again, they pose the questions to the contestants, you know, name a British member of Parliament. And if you give a correct answer, you get a certain number of points. The number of points you get is equal to the number of people on the panel who actually matched your answer. So the point of Pointless is to give an answer that none of their survey actually gave as an answer. Hence, scoring 0 points and giving a pointless answer.
Wow.
But
it's so complicated.
But the point that on Pointless, you're actually given 2 shots on the show unless you make the third round. So either of the first 2 teams of 2 eliminated. If you're eliminated your first time, you're going to get a second episode or a second chance. They give you 2 shots to actually make it to the final pairing. So
wow. Yeah, that's cool, but man, that sounds really not even fun. You know, I mean, Pat, would you want to do that? Oh, that doesn't sound, I don't know.
Well, you know, the British certainly have different concepts for game shows for sure.
And of fun too, I believe. That's another podcast.
So, did you have any watch parties?
One, the first night, but you know, you can't tell anybody. It's not like you can go, I'm going to have another one, a chance. Oh, well, you know, you can't say, yeah, I just loved everybody so much. I'm going to watch every night this week and invite all my friends. So I did have one, and I had not told. It was my husband, my son, my sister, of course, knew, because you are, required by law to tell the people you love, and but nobody else did, and even my really close friends didn't. Well, one close friend came up to watch, and he was at the taping, which was fantastic, and he was able to keep his mouth shut, which is really great. I really appreciate that. But I didn't tell my closest friends here, even. I just said, you got to watch, because it'll be more fun. I just said, it's kind of a nail biter, kind of, so, just, but it was a lot of fun to see people go, especially when I couldn't come up with kiwi, which, I mean, seriously, who freaking knows kiwi? The only people who knew kiwi were people who had been to either Australia or New Zealand. But like kiwi, and the other thing, I knew there was a freaking albatross, and I'm saying in my head, come on, Bauer, don't overcomplicate it. It's a seagull. And I look at that picture, and the wingspan is like, 13 feet, and I'm like, oh my God, people, whatever. So to see them all go, oh my God, kiwi, she just totally blew it, because it was a big bet, but then I came roaring back. So
yeah, you did.
I did. And that was it was interesting, because my son's a gamer, and at the end of it, he said, wow, Mom, you're such a momentum player, which I guess is a thing in gaming. And I thought, that's actually a really good description, because my thing was always, the one strategic thing I knew from watching the game was that if I could stay in a close second, I was actually in a stronger position in Final Jeopardy than if I was winning by not very much. And so, because if you're in the lead, you kind of got to assume that the second place person is going to bet everything to overtake you. And I knew I just had to beat him by a buck. So, and then I got very lucky, because Marcus was so smart, and I was so mad at him when he got Cesar Romero, because I thought, you're too young. That's my clue. As a young child, I remember Cesar Romero, and then he's like, damn, maybe. And my son said, I can't believe he didn't get any of the Joker questions. I was like, I knew him, but he was really, really quick. And so, and then I got lucky. It was English Lit, which is a good category for me. So, I was, but anyway, where were we? Oh, that all started with a watch party.
Yeah.
Oh, I should fly off like a kiwi, which doesn't fly because it's a stupid ray type. But.
So, do you remember what you kind of talked about behind the lecterns post-game in your chats with Alex?
The first one was I think he got a kick out of the fact that I was so surprised that I won. So we talked about that, and I just talked about how great they were, and and Marcus especially, who I was just is like a beautiful human being, and I mean, just he's got this energy that you just want to be around. He's just a really cool, amazing, smart guy. So let's see. What did we talk about? I can't remember. I think at the end, Alex asked me if I knew what I was going to do with the money, which of course I didn't. Which is basically like, wait and see how much the Feds take. Well, basically, I was like, okay, here you go, IRS. I'm happy to support. Let's hope it goes toward infrastructure. But I can't remember. He did say something really interesting, and he said, he said, isn't it weird how we can come up with these answers? He says, I don't want to do it, because I think maybe Erica asked him if he ever wanted to play the game, and he said, oh, no way. And he said, sometimes I'll be doing a crossword, and I'll think, and I'll come up with an answer and I won't know where that came from. So that was kind of an interesting thing, because it's like, yeah, you kind of don't know where that comes from. You know, you don't know why you remembered it. But I mean, I think what I realized was, I was talking to somebody and I said, oh yeah, you know, I can remember all this useless trivia, you know, and Jeopardy's the one place you can make money on. And then I thought, you know, I never thought it was useless. I always thought it was really cool to know that stuff. And I think that that's people like Andy, like that. I mean, I think that that's why we love the show, because we don't think that that's useless information. We think that that's really cool, you know? And I didn't learn anything from studying, because truth be told, I did cram a little. I'd have to review. I'd have to go like on the J archive, but I think almost every single question was something I just knew from living my life. And that's one of the advantages of waiting till you're, you know, 125 years old, like I am, because you've had all these decades to, you know, get that in your noggin. So.
We were talking about that before you joined. I think there's a sweet spot where life experience meets slowing reflexes.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Exactly. And well, and I wish I'd played video games, because I contend that it's a huge help. There were particularly my third game, Edgar. Edgar's so cool looking. And Edgar, I knew a lot of the questions he got in and knew of. I wasn't like deducing or guessing, which you end up doing sometimes, you know, to your peril, Archbishop of the world. And but Edgar was just slamming out those fairy tales. And when that category came up, I went, whoopee, that's my category. And that was just like, who are you? God, you're fast. It was boom, boom, boom. And I thought, that's it. And I was talking to my son, who's always been trying to get me to play video games. And so he's gonna try and teach me now. It won't do me any good, but he said, you know, it'd be good for you to like understand why I love these. So, but I definitely think the reflexes are. I thought I was fast in the audition because I was getting stuff in pretty quickly, but again, I think that my knowledge of you know, it helps that I was a theater major and that I read constantly. I just finished. Because I keep count, because I'm a dork, I just finished my 30th book of 2017, and that doesn't include probably 20 books that I started, and I thought, this is dumb, I'm not going to finish this. But, you know, I read constantly. Oh, and total fangirl moment today. I wrote to Reza Aslan, who helped me get a clue. And I said, dear Mr. Aslan, you know, thank you for writing a wonderful book, and thank you for being. And he wrote back, and I go, So that was a real perk. That's been my favorite perk so far, was that I could write to, you know, I could fangirl to, and who fangirls to a religious scholar? You know, I mean, like who does that? But he's a very nice man, and that was really great, and just proves, you know, what a nerd I am. So we're all nerds. We're in the nerd tribe.
We certainly are all nerds here. So nothing wrong with that at all.
It's fantastic. It's fantastic.
So being at the studio in between, you've obviously won 3 games going into the, you know, after Wednesday's game. And then of course they take their lunch break. So my question for you now, in between taping Wednesday and Thursday, you got to have lunch on Sony's dime at the commissary. So do you remember what you had for lunch?
I had a hard-boiled egg and 2 bites of a salad, because I can't eat when I'm nervous. And the adrenaline at that point in my system, and I hadn't eaten breakfast, because they said they were going to have breakfast, but it was all kind of, I thought, you know, oh, it'll be like a breakfast, but it was all like super carby. And I just, when I get nervous, I can't eat. And so, and then I thought, oh, good, I can get lunch. And you know, I mean, they had, it was like going to a nice cafeteria at a museum, you know. It was like, it wasn't like, you know, going to, you know, like the Chelsea market in New York, you know, or even Whole Foods. It was like, it was, I had a hard-boiled egg, I think, because Maggie made me eat. She said, you have to eat something. I was like, ah. You know, so, yeah, I didn't have much. I did not eat for success, clearly. Because you're so strung out by that point, you know, and it's just, and it is the adrenaline. And the weird thing is that watching it was as big of an adrenaline rush. And it was like, oh, geez. So I just, honestly, I do not have the physical, emotional, or mental stamina to go anymore. It was like, I was pretty tired by then.
One thing I don't remember, were you segregated from the rest of the contestants at lunch? Did you, or were you able to eat with?
No, I started to sit with them, and then I started to get really, I said, I've got to go outside. And I said, I'm really not trying to be a prima donna, and any of you can come with me. But I just said, please, can I go outside? I've got to get some fresh air. So I said, you know, I'm a delicate creature. Obviously. And, you know, you know.
But the production crew was, the casting crew was not concerned about you hanging out with potential contestants that you hadn't played yet.
No, not at all. Not at all. That was, and that was it. Because we were, I don't know if we were an unusually tight group, but we, you know, we really liked each other. It was very genuine. We really got that we were all just having fun. And it, again, I think a lot of that was, you know, Morgan and Erica just had this amazing energy, and they were still there at that point. And, you know, Anand too, and I can't see, I don't remember the name of the guy who's playing tomorrow, but he's, let me think. I can't even remember who else. Oh, Phil. Phil was the other. He was a wonderful guy. So it was just like super cool, chill, nice people, and we could all talk. So, you know, because Maggie's right there. I mean, you know,
yeah.
She would have like kicked me or something if I said something. But I think it was clear I was in no state to like really have like any kind of coherent conversation.
So just to jog your memory, the two challengers tomorrow are Patrick and Byron.
I think it's Byron.
Okay.
Is our guy. Yeah. Yeah, he was super cool. Everybody was cool. Yeah, everybody's nice.
So when you went out to Culver City to tape, did you do anything besides, you know, tape the show? Did you go anywhere else in the area?
I did. We had so much fun. We have friends there. We went to the Getty because, as I said, I'm a museum.
Yeah.
And the Getty is like the coolest place in, well, I won't say the world. It's super awesome, though. It was amazing. It was so great. And the setting is just crazy. It's up on this hill, and there's this gorgeous garden, and that was wonderful. Let's see. And my friend Mark, who's there, he and his partner came up and took us to, I really admire people who drive in Southern California. That's really hard. You know, it's not that fun in Michigan, but I mean, it is like really hard. There's freeways and really, so they drove us around. We didn't have to drive. And we went to Venice Beach and Santa Monica. So that was fun because I hadn't been in LA in like a gazillion years. And I'm from Northern California originally. So we're going, oh, well, we've got San Francisco and the opera, you know, we're really awesome. And you're Los Angeles. And so I didn't really spend any time in Los Angeles. And it was fantastic. I loved it. I'd go back in a heartbeat. I'm really sorry I missed that super cool museum. They had it was a visual daily double on Friday. And I would have gone, oh, that's the Getty, like a big dork, and I totally wrong. I think it was called it starts with a B. I can't remember. I'm sorry, so that's on the list for next time. But I would go back to LA. It was totally great. Totally. See, you can tell I'm from California. That's so cool.
So do you remember them having to stop tape at all during your
Oh,
week?
yeah, they did for Pinderest. Yeah, that was I wasn't quite sure why they were doing it, but for Pinderest they had to stop tape. Yeah, and man, was I happy they took that one, because that kind of saved my bacon. I was really, I'm only, but it doesn't make a difference that I lost the Archbishop of Canterbury, except that it did spook me. After that, I just kind of, I knew a couple of answers, and I just didn't dare open my mouth because I was so upset. Because I had Canterbury going through my head, and I'm going, no way, man, that guy's a Catholic. And then I went, oh, Reformation, Henry VIII. Yeah. So stupid. And I know this. I used to teach Shakespeare, so I like totally know my English history vis-a-vis the Reformation. And but it's like, you know, it's what your, I mean, Pat, you know what your brain does up there. It just goes into a weird place, you know. It's like, whatever. So, yeah.
Okay. So did you have any Slumdog Millionaire moments, as it were? Kind of things where, you know, there was some really weird story behind how you happened to know the correct response to one of the clues?
Lemuel. I'm just proud of Lemuel. I'm a Jonathan Swift fan. So here's a funny one, actually. Before we got there, okay, there's two. I knew why I knew them, but I was so delighted that not only did they come up while I was on the show, but that I could get in there fast enough. But again, I think they were so weird that I'm like the only person who knows, because that's my specialty, the weird clue. We had been to Sardinia earlier this year. So if you watch the show, if you have absolutely nothing to do and you want to go watch the first show, after I answer this Sardinia clue, I get this ridiculous grin on my face. And Alex says, guess again. It's like, oh, not guess again, but, you know, pick another one. And it's like, because I was going, Sardinia. And then the other one that was really cracked me up was the one for pince-nez, which is, it looks like pince-nez when you see it, but it is pronounced pince-nez because it's French. And I have a friend who, we're always one-upping each other with like weird items of clothing. And he said, and as if we won't recognize, he'll say, I'll be the one in the periwig and the farthingale, and I'll go, and me and my pince-nez and crinoline, you know, I mean, it's like, I know weird items of clothing. So I was really delighted those came out. I can't think of anything that was like, oh, you know, maybe John Legend. I didn't see John Legend up on, I just saw the thing up on screen, the clue, because the videos are like over here and the clues here, and I didn't see that. And then I looked at John Legend because I have a nephew who, not a nephew, a great nephew who actually looks sort of exactly like him, except he's 5. He's like the 5-year-old version. And so I was delighted to see John Legend up there. I wouldn't have gotten it from the clue, but I got it from the picture. So that was probably my Slumdog moment.
Do you watch Lip Sync Battle then? In general, because you did pretty well in that category last, if I remember correctly.
Well in that category, and I've never seen it, and so, but I knew all the songs. Those are the kind where, you know, you get those clues when you're watching at home. You go, oh, everybody knows that. That's easy, and it's like actually everybody doesn't know that, but you know, I did get lucky with that. So I was kind of shocked because those seemed like, you know, ABBA, Proud Mary. Those were like piece of cake.
Well, that's the life experience thing you talk about as well.
The categories that favor the old. Yay!
Yeah, exactly. Go late, baby boomer.
Unfortunately, I played a game where all 3 of us were within 4 years of each other's age, so there was no advantage in that.
Yeah, and I think it's really fantastic, both the way they've kept they keep it generational. It's not like, you know, the game is aging itself out. It's keeping. I think that that's really cool, but it is absolutely true that because that didn't happen at all with my games. If anything, it was like two people. Well, no, I think ours were pretty mixed for the most part. I think ours were pretty mixed. So, yeah, we did. It was, but that would be rough. That would be rough. My bacon would have been completely burnt if I'd been against other English teachers, you know. And I'm bummed I didn't get either Shakespeare or the Bible. That would have been really fun. But I got plays, you know. Nobody in the world knows freaking Man and Superman. Nobody knows that except somebody who was a theater major way in the last century, you know, because I can't imagine anybody reads it anymore. It's really kind of not my favorite play.
Any plans to visit any Canadian national parks in the near future?
I didn't know the Thousand Islands, but that came after the Archbishop of the World, and so I was spooked. No, but you know what, though? I would actually, here is a tip for you, okay? I had on my list that I really needed to study, of all things, both Australia and Canada. Because if you look on, it's amazing all the analytics that had gone into Jeopardy, but if you look on the, like the countries that come up the most often, those two are pretty high. And hello, Kiwi, you know, I mean, that might have helped. And also, but I would just like to know more about Canada because, you know, now that I live in Michigan, I'm so blasted close. I really feel like I should know more. It's kind of a big place. And you guys are cool up there. You know, I dig Canada. I think Canada's great. It's just so freaking cold.
Visit in the summer when it's a little bit warmer and you're not dealing with freezing rain.
Totally. I have to. Steve and I did go to Nova Scotia and Halifax was just awesome. And then we came down on New Brunswick to St. John's, and we stopped at the Bay of Fundy, and that was super cool. Can I remember the name of any of those parks? No. So I wouldn't have done really well, but I did love it. It was really, yeah. I mean, I think Canada's great. You know, you guys have Sarah Polley. She's like total rock star. She's my hero. So it's cool. And that crazy guy, Guy Madden. You know Guy Madden? He directs all these really crazy movies. They're awesome.
Yeah. I hate to say this, movies are kind of my weak spot when it comes to trivia, almost. So.
We've all got them.
Yep.
Mine's Protestants. Actually, Protestants, I thought I'd probably be okay, but robots. Please go away. That's when I smelt the lobster. You know, I was like, oh, that's me, lobsterizing. Robots.
So some comments on the YouTube chat. First up from Fred Vaughn saying he rocked a Blondie and a Dagwood Final Jeopardy, and he kind of knew only he was getting that one, so he feels like he's been there. Matt Carberry has suggested, or says he highly recommends Banff, Jasper, and even more highly recommend Cape Breton Highlands.
Nice.
Cape Breton Highlands is actually out in Nova Scotia. So.
Oh, cool. Is it on it's not on the east side though, coming up, right?
If you're going through, if you're going from Halifax into Newfoundland, you know, to the ferry to Newfoundland,
yeah,
you're crossing. You need to catch the ferry on Cape Breton Island.
That would be cool. Yeah, that'd be cool. There's so many cool places to go. Banff, I know, is crazy, beautiful, amazing, wonderful.
Mm-hmm. So, everyone or at least the vast majority of Jeopardy players I find kind of have an origin story, as it were, as to how they kind of became, started watching Jeopardy in the first place and became Jeopardy fans. And so I'd like to ask you, Nan, how did you become a Jeopardy fan?
I remember, this is a weird early memory. I can remember my mom ironing and being small enough to be like hanging out, playing with blocks or something, when Art Fleming was the host. And I remember thinking, I think my dad knows him, because he looked like a guy like your dad knows, Art Fleming did. And I also remember as a little kid watching it and thinking, why are they asking those questions? The question format, for a little kid, that's kind of not the way it works. So I remember that. I've had huge swaths of time in my life where I didn't have a TV. When did I start watching Jeopardy? I don't have like a cool origin story. I really don't. I just started to watch it and I liked it, and it ended up being one of the few things I would regularly watch before streaming became a thing. It was like the one thing I totally dug, because I could always get all the theater questions. And then I thought, well, it would be really fun to be on it. But I honestly never even occurred to me to take the test until the 3.5 years ago when I took it. Isn't that ridiculous? It never occurred to me, because and the timing worked out really great, obviously, but yeah, I don't have some sort of thing where I like really got into it. I haven't done trivia bowls or anything like that, so I have to disappoint you on that one. But
No, there's no wrong or disappointing answer on that question. There's no sort of.
Well, I do remember Art Fleming, so that's pretty. Yeah. That's proof of seniority.
Life experience.
Yeah.
So, audition season is kind of coming up. I know they're the Jeopardy contestant coordinators are making their way around. I feel like in the next month or so, they're going to be paying visits to places like Chicago, Toronto, and Boston. So for all of those people who might be listening or watching and are kind of looking for audition tips, do you have any audition tips as someone who made it through that process that you'd like to give out?
I did write a post about it on my blog, so you can just look me up online and find it. And let me think. No, I can't think. It's really sexy, like you write it down and then you can't remember. I think the biggest thing is to know going in, it's going to be a blast. It's really, really fun. The audition process is super fun. And the other thing is know that you can have a spectacular audition and not get called, I've seen it, because they just, they see a ton of people and they can only choose, do you know what the number is, Pat or Andy?
Around 400, I think.
400. They can only choose 400. So, and they see a ton, and you'll get in that audition and you'll go, oh, a lot of smart people in here. And it's cool, just I think the biggest thing is don't study, but learn. So if you're a fan of the show, you're a fan because you are good at trivia. And yes, unless you're like, Jeopardy Zeus, like, Austin or and Alex, but Alex, I can't remember his last name.
Alex Jacob.
Alex Jacob. If you're one of those guys, everything. Okay? But if you're like most of us, you have your areas of specialty, and you've learned them because it's kind of the Slumdog thing. You've learned them because you have some sort of connection with them, and those are the things you're going to remember. I'll tell you the one thing I did. I liked history. I think most of us like nerds in school, and we liked school, and I liked history, but I had forgotten a lot, especially American history. Wasn't so shiny on that. So I studied it, and then there was a question that Phil got about Oliver Hazard Perry. And I had studied him, and I thought, okay, I'm going to remember that because that's kind of a cool name. But I don't give a damn about that battle he was in. So it didn't stick. And he's going, Oliver Hazard Perry in the Battle of, I'm going, I don't know, Mount Rushmore. I had studied it, but it didn't mean anything to me, and I didn't have a connection with the information. So it's like when you're up there and there's like this big purple wall of questions, and there's Alex, and here's people, and there's Johnny, Johnny's doing his thing, and it's like so crazy and overwhelming. And so you're sure as hell not gonna remember that thing you crammed for. But I had just seen Dunkirk, not because I had any interest in Dunkirk, but because I'm a huge Christopher Nolan fan. And so I got a Dunkirk question. That was super cool. Mm-hmm. I would say just keep living your life, but you as a Jeopardy fan are somebody who loves to learn. So just keep learning things you love, and figure out how you learn. The way I learn is I read. I read like books about things as opposed to like, I didn't, like everybody said, oh, get like that Davis book, don't know much about. And then he's got like 20 books that you don't know much about. And they didn't work for me, because it was too, I couldn't connect with the information. So I'd say when you go and just learn, know your stuff, and play video games. And if you do not care about them like me, yeah, baby. It's a huge, huge help. It's a thing. It's why you don't see many old duffers who are, millions of dollars won, a whole bunch of games, because it's the speed. So we know a ton, but although I have to say, some people are really speedy, regardless of age. So, yeah. Mm-hmm. So play video games. Sorry, mothers of the world, it's a good thing. Play video games and learn because you love to learn. Take in as much as you can. Up your reading schedule. Read a book a week. You won't be sorry.
Okay. So are there any questions that, Pat, you may have for Nan or myself, or Nan, any questions you have for Pat or myself at this point?
I am fresh out of questions. I've been asking as I went, and
I'm curious, how do you all feel about the various tournaments? Do you look forward to them, or do you go, I'm going to take a break this week, or are you like, do you dig them?
I really dig them. I think that, personally, I'm a big fan. Especially, my favorite is obviously the TOC. But I like all the tournaments because one thing I always find, the tournament groups have so much the tournament groups always get along so well with each other, and so I really enjoy just how much they get along, and also from my perspective as host of #Jeopardy Live Panel, being able to hear the stories of some of their shared experiences sometimes, I really, really enjoy that, and that's one reason why I am a huge fan of tournament times.
That's cool. Do you watch the teens and the college and the?
I watch the whole show. I watch absolutely everything.
Do you have a favorite, Pat?
I love the Tournament of Champions, of course, and it's especially great now that I'm part of the community, so I know either in person or just virtually several of the participants. So it's going to be great to watch that.
That's awesome.
I record Jeopardy every day, so I watch all of them.
Yeah. and through the wonder of YouTube. Where, by the way, where reliably do you get the best links to the shows? Is there like one person on YouTube who does this? Because the ones some that I've seen, they're like all stretched out. It looks like they held their phone up to the TV.
Let's talk about this offline.
Hmm?
Let's talk about this offline.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, maybe they're not supposed to do that. Maybe you should have kept it short. Let's censor this. Let's. I didn't swear, but I still managed to come up with something that should be censored.
Yeah, we'll not. We won't talk about that on the live panel itself. I don't particularly want to get myself in trouble with anyone.
Right.
Officially, my stance is that people should watch on their local stations, as that provides for the most amount of advertising revenue for the show, and will allow for the show to keep going for many years to come.
Yeah, so we have awesome commercials on ours. We have lots of really great car commercials, used cars.
And medications.
Oh yeah, that'd be. What's the category you wish you'd gotten, Pat?
That I wish I'd gotten. You know, I would have loved a Shakespeare category. I didn't get a Shakespeare category.
Yeah.
I would have loved. You know, a category on Watergate, I probably could have done really well on, and I bet my competitors would not have.
Good old Watergate.
It's about the only American history thing that I would have. But.
Do you both have the thing where like you're watching the show and you're going, that's my category, and then you get to a daily double and you go, I'm gonna bet it all. This is from the comfort of your own home. But so you like bet it all, and then you go, oh my God, they found the one thing I don't know.
I've never, is that even written in English?
Right. They had a ballet category the other day. I went, pish, I know everything there is to know about ballet. Sure as shooting, daily double came up. No idea. No idea in the entire world. Oh my gosh, this is totally sucking down the power here. I'm going to need to reboot here. Unless we're not reboot, I'll have to get my power cord. Unless we're wrapping up.
We're just about wrapping up. So certainly, I'm sure you can hang on for another couple of minutes or so, I hope.
I can, although it dropped dramatically. Let me get my power cord, okay? I'll be back.
Okay. So while we wait for Nan to return with her power cord, Pat, do you have any thoughts on the upcoming Tournament of Champions? Any sort of favorites that you're hoping will do well? Any sort of dark horses that you think we should look out for, or anything like that?
I declined to take a public stand, so I will just make a popular public stand, which is go girl power. So go Lily and go Lisa.
Oh, Lisa, right? She's awesome. Lily, I'm so bad. I don't remember.
Lily was the college champion from this past February.
Oh, she was so adorable. I loved her. There was something she did where I just went, you totally rock. And I can't remember. It was like some answer she gave or something. And I'm like, that's really awesome. Yeah, that's cool. That's really good. Yeah.
I mean, with only 2 women in the tournament, the odds are stacked against them, but go girls.
Yeah, they're both badasses. Let's see what happens. Yeah, that's, it would be, yeah, girl power is, will be great. It will be great when it's the other way around, but for now,
yep.
Well, but I
mean, other tournaments have had a better gender spread, but
yeah,
the fluke of what happened this past 2 years.
Yeah, there's been a lot of fluky things that have happened that have caused there to be less of a less women in this TOC. So
well, yeah, and of course Cindy should have been there.
Yes,
She unfortunately didn't.
Cindy. Okay, remind me.
Cindy Stowell. She was a 7-game winner.
6.
6-game winner.
Yeah.
She passed away.
Oh, I heard about this. Yeah. Oh, golly. Yeah, that's sad.
So I don't know if you saw any of the promos that came out today for the tournament, but all the tournament players are wearing blue ribbons.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't.
Memory of Cindy.
You know, I turn on Jeopardy and then that's it. You know, then I like binge watch something else. Not really. Actually, what did I watch today? I watched a German movie. Do you guys know Mubi? See, I'm like a movie freak. So, Mubi, M-U-B-I. There, I got to give a plug. Mubi is it's this super cool streaming service where they find movies from all over the world, and but they're only up for 30 days. So after they go through, and you got 30 days, and you got 29, and then you get to, you know, expires at midnight. Boom, it's out of there. It's really cool. So I watched this cool German movie that was like all depressing and autumnal, and really just put me in a great mood.
So, on that note, I think I'd like to thank both of you for joining me on #Jeopardy Live panel this evening. That was I quite enjoyed this this panel and the chat this evening. So, thank you both very much. In terms of scheduling for the next week, I am doing the Tournament of Champions preview episode on Sunday at 9:05 p.m. Eastern. It is not the usual Monday. I will be doing the TOC preview on Sunday at 9:05, the night before the tournament starts airing. I'll also be doing a regular panel discussing this week's shows in its normal time next Monday night at 9:05 p.m. Eastern. So going to get a double dose of #Jeopardy Live panel next week. So thank you guys very much for tuning in, taking part. So I'll just get the credits card up here. Remember, the audio simulcast is also available as a podcast on iTunes. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. And I'll see you next Sunday night with the TOC preview show. I'm Andy Saunders. For everyone here, thanks for tuning in. Have a great night.